Hello, so this is Healthy Foods and Obesity. It's from the documentary Weight of the Nation, I believe. I just think a lot of the information in this series is very informative and helpful, and it really gives a good overall look at the problem.
This Georgia is heavy as I was.
How loud are you? About 280.
18+% of our children right now are obese.
If you go with the flow in America today, you will end up overweight or obese, as 2/3 of Americans do.
I don't want to be fat for the rest of my life. I've got diabetes,
Sleep apnea.
high blood pressure.
I get dizzy when I get up.
Everything's hurting now.
We don't now take this as a really serious, urgent national priority. We are, all of us individually and as a nation, going to pay a really serious price.
This barn's built in 1917. It was started in 1857 by my great-great-grandfather Levi Grinnell. So I'm the 5th generation here on this farm. It's nice to be farming where my grandfathers did. We run a diversified CSA operation. We grow about 40 different types of vegetable crops. And it tastes good. Anybody want some basil? Bueno. A little bit of wind. This is our greenhouse full of tomatoes. We just picked it this morning so you don't see any ripe ones. On these sun gold cherry tomatoes here that turn orange, we pull about 400 pints a week out of here, and then we usually pick about 400 pounds of reds a week. It's a lot of labor. Unless you go a number of miles, there really aren't any other large vegetable operations. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. I think we're going to have 150 to 200 people show up. The vast majority of my neighbors are cropping corn and soybeans. And it used to be that with diversified livestock operations, they'd at least have alfalfa or hay or oats in that rotation, and that's pretty much gone in this part of the country now. In Iowa and across the nation, we definitely have an obesity problem. The diet in Iowa has changed drastically. The vast majority of food in the grocery stores are prepackaged, boxed, processed foods that are made from corn and soybeans, which tend to be very high in salt, very high in starch, and quite low in anything that you might consider to be unadulterated nutrients. The number of fruit and vegetables that Iowans consume is actually produced in the state, and it's almost insignificant.
Why are they just raising corn on corn on corn? Because corn on corn on corn, they get paid to do it. And they're not just getting paid for their corn, they're getting the government check. They're getting government-backed crop insurance, so if it's a bad year, they're getting a payment for that.
There's absolutely nothing for fruits and vegetable growers right now.
One cause of obesity is it's an increase in our calorie consumption over the last 30, 35 years. What's accounting for that increase? A quarter of it is thought to be added sugars, like those from corn. A quarter of it, roughly, is thought to be from added fats, most of which are from soy. Almost half is from refined grains, namely cornstarches, wheat, and the like. Our diets in America are too heavy in the things that contribute to obesity, fats, sugars, calories, and too light in the things that seem to protect against obesity, like fruits and vegetables.
Part of the solution to this problem of obesity is to have people eat more fruits and vegetables with that very low calorie density and their other health benefits. Consumption of fruits and vegetables is associated with lowered blood pressure, associated with reduced cancer rates, even for reasons which we don't fully understand. They're rich in vitamins and potassium. They don't have fat. They don't, in general, have saturated fat.
For people that are trying to push the American diet in the right direction, one of the objectives is finding ways to promote more consumption of fruits and vegetables. That's where we want to be. And there's a couple of immediate and obvious challenges. One is that in terms of price, fruits and vegetables are typically more expensive, much more expensive than our starches and fats.
Fruit and vegetable prices have been steadily increasing over time, and in fact, part of the reason they're increasing is because farmers have a greater profit motive to grow corn and soy than they do to grow fresh fruits and vegetables.
We have a farm policy that incentivizes farmers to produce just a few kinds of commodity crops: corn, soy, rice, wheat.
Because of agriculture subsidies, the raw products like soybean and corn that go into so many processed food products are artificially supported by the government. That drives down the prices that we pay at the counter, and so we're getting a better deal on these things than we really should if we were paying the real cost.
Our policies are driving our farmers to overproduce exactly the kinds of foods and the calories in those foods that we're already overeating.
Practical Farmers of Iowa is a grassroots-led organization that was started by a number of Iowa farmers about 26 years ago. We get to collaborate with a number of other farmers and gain from their on-farm research. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that vegetable growers face in the state of Iowa.
My daughter goes to a daycare center, and they use the industrial food system to produce their lunches, and it's just that. She eats really well 2 meals out of the day. Everything else is junk, and there's no way for me to really have much of an impact on that because I can't even grow enough for one daycare that has 50 kids or whatever in it. So finding ways to increase the access, not only to the people that can afford to pay the prices that we're asking them to pay, but also finding ways to increase the access for the people that can not afford to pay the prices that we need to be able to survive.
If you made it so that it was just as cheap to buy broccoli, or cheaper than it is to buy a Twinkie, I guarantee you people would buy broccoli.
Ron can't grow 50 acres of broccoli because where's he going to take it? There's no market
and
for
what
it
machinery
right
is he going to use? Who's going to pick it? Who's going to pack it? It's a different system.
We have to have places to freeze broccoli. We have to have warehouses. We have to have cold storage space. That's why we would want to have some investments in infrastructure that really supports the whole food and vegetable industry.
What's the difference between what you would call conventional produce, something you would buy at the supermarket, versus the produce that you are growing and marketing locally?
Okay, the difference is taste and nutrition. And the reason the taste and nutrition has been depleted in our fresh fruits and vegetables that are shipped in is for shipping quality. And it's all about biology. The biology is what you like to eat, other things like to eat. Bacteria, fungi, insects, those sorts of things. So, if a crop has good flavor, high nutrition, it's good flavor and high nutrition for other things to eat. So it rots.
The nice thing about farming locally and maybe a little bit more small is we have access to all of our customers. And Mom just came up to me at farmer's market and said, thank you so much, because before he got this box of vegetables, the only thing he would eat is iceberg lettuce. And she said now he won't touch it. She's like, he will only eat heirloom butter crunch lettuce.
If fruits and vegetables were produced for their taste rather than
for their ability to endure a cross-country trip, then I think it would be easy to have more children and adults liking fruits and vegetables on a regular basis.
The growing concern about diet-related illnesses such as obesity and heart disease is going to be one of the major factors that lead people to adopt a different way of farming, a different way of taking care of the land, a different way of processing and distributing food that does embody the potential for a healthier society in the future.
Can I get my usual loaf of non-grain, please?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, all right. Way to go. Thanks for buying the oranges, man. Yeah, I hope you like them. That's right. Have you ever roasted cauliflower?
No. Is it
Let
delicious like that?
me tell you. They all look good. Doesn't really seem to matter, but I'll just take this one here. This is great. I love this best of the market. Do you get one every week?
Not quite.
No, but that's okay. Then a $20 bag, you get the extra, you get some beets and some kale and some tangerines. And we got strawberries, chard. Thanks for buying the bag. That helps keep the program going. What's the sweetest?
The peach clementine. This is its last day.
The last day?
Last day, they're done for the season.
I like that a lot.
Blood oranges are at their peak. You can tell by the color, it's screaming red.
It's been clear to me over the years as I work with my patients that what they eat really has a major impact on their health. And what better way to create health and to help maintain a healthy weight than to have good fresh fruits and vegetables. In 2002, I said, wait a minute, instead of having to go to a farmer's market on a weekend, what if I brought a farmer's market right in front of the medical center? Would people shop? What would happen? It was like a block party out here. Nice to see you out here. This is your weekly trip out to the market.
Every time I leave the doctor, this is the perfect inspiration to eat healthy.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, that's why we put the market out here. It's just a wonderful source of food that is really fundamental to good health. You know, if I had one dream, it would be that every one of the farmers markets in the country would sell out every week because Americans were eating so many fruits and vegetables. By 2006, we said, wait, we're getting this really good food out in front of our hospitals, but what about all the patients in the hospitals? What are they getting served? Then when I stop in to make rounds on my patients, I'd see some of what they were being served, and it looked like there were some choices that really didn't look like they were the best or the most healthy for our patients.
So we overhauled the whole menu. We started using the heart healthy diet as the basis of the whole menu and incorporating that into the regular diet. We removed the cakes, the pies, the pastries, and started offering fresh fruits in place of that.
Well, we actually surveyed 60 different fruits and vegetables that got purchased at the time for use in the meals, and we did a food miles analysis to see where they were coming from. I learned that we order 250 tons of fruits and vegetables a year. I learned that 100 tons of them came from outside of California. Some of those shipped in 7,000 miles. We found literally that there were tons of red seedless grapes being shipped to us from 7,000 miles away. I couldn't figure out why we would ship them in 7,000 miles when I'm selling red seedless grapes outside the hospital. The Achilles heel is the distribution system. There was no connection between these small local farmers in this great big delivery system. They just didn't have an easy way to access the system. I started to work with the distribution system, with FreshPoint and with food service partners to try to see what's possible. We were getting red seedless grapes in Chile.
Right.
We were getting red plums from up in Idaho. and at the time when those things were all kind of being grown here in California.
We're starting to see the small farmer emerge a little bit and flex their muscle and take advantage of the consumer's desire to want to buy local and to want to buy products from smaller farmers.
How do they get their food into a big company like this?
We can pool all the small farmers into these aggregators, and then we can pull product from them.
Most of the larger distributors don't have the time or really the manpower to go out and seek out these smaller farms.
Exactly.
So our role as an aggregator is to work with a lot of local, small, family-owned, mid-sized farms and keep them on the farm and not have them on the road daily. Thumbs Up was a direct deliverer of local produce, and we found that to be most effective, we should work with the larger distributors.
We see this type of relationship between our respective organizations continue to grow. We expect to do more product. We want more farmers putting, more of their capital at work in the soil. We want to buy more product from Thumbs Up. And we have the distribution mechanism and the connections to the end users on the food service side that, frankly, a lot of the small farmers and aggregates don't have. So it really becomes a symbiotic relationship.
So this lot of blood oranges arrived this morning from a small farm outside of Porterville. They're from a two-family operation. The farmers pick it, harvest it, pack it, bring it in, we get it through the channels, and it gets to the patient's trays by tomorrow evening.
Fantastic. We started to source more and more from our local farmers. Do I get this right that there's 7,000 meals a day coming out of here?
6,000 to 7,000 meals are coming out of this kitchen that services all Northern California. She's doing 1,800 oranges today, and those will be on our patient tray tomorrow. And then this is a custom salad. It's broccoli, tomato, chickpea salad. It's been the patient satisfier in our medical centers.
That looks good.
These are the different blends, our Scandinavian blend, our Capri blend.
And these are the local vegetables that come in according to our specifications.
Yes. We're moving to making everything in-house from scratch using our own recipes. We've moved from a 40% of in-house cooked food to an 80% in-house cooked food. We've moved totally away from the processed food. People are receiving fresh foods, fresh sourced foods from local areas wherever we can.
All right. We've made reasonable progress in 5 years, sourcing well over 100 tons of fruit and vegetables from small farmers. We still don't have all the products we need in all seasons to feed all of our members in the hospital. We have difficulty doing this in California, where we've got agriculture right up abutting our cities. What must it be like for the rest of the country where the growing season is only 3 months a year?
What I find interesting is the reluctance of some folks to understand prevention is so much smarter in the long run than paying for the problem after you've got it through medicine. The time is right for people to be willing to say we've got to go ahead and change the discussion, change the dialogue, and be sure that we have the healthy food at the front end of these children's lives, because it's awful hard to roll it back when they're 25 and 30 and 35. %67% of Texas adults are overweight or obese. We have about 40% of Texas fourth grade school kids overweight or obese. And Texas businesses have seen an annual cost to their businesses of about $9.3 billion. And these same Texas businesses and the ones that come later are expected to incur by 2030 $32.5 billion. What does that mean for the Texas economy? For us to be looking at this hit to the Texas of tomorrow is frankly frightening.
We're delivering a good portion of what you see here tomorrow to Judson Independent School District.
Really?
Yeah, the romaine, which is
beautiful.
Oh, it's
That's
unbelievable.
absolutely spectacular looking. That's really gorgeous. What would you do for a kid for lunch?
Actually, we've done this in the past with fresh kale like this. We'll actually toss it with a little bit of oil and fresh garlic, and then we'll roast it in the oven, and we'll make kale chips out of it.
We took a look at a school district here in Austin where there is a terrifically dedicated guy, a chef, who works really hard on fresh fruits and vegetables, not just making them taste good, but opening up children to the notion that vegetables are fun and fruits are fun, and he gives them these and they like them. You are trying to make this the source of supply for all vegetables and fruits, seasonal adjustments, because where you are, but for 2 large systems. And I think that's really encouraging.
Yeah, 2 and beyond.
We've got about 4 million school kids in the state of Texas, and do you see a way to sort of scale this up where it's not just the kids lucky enough to have Chef Steven here and you all to scale it up to where you can actually sort of push this whole thing through?
Well, it's most definitely doable. Next year, we're adding on 16 elementaries, 11 high schools, and several middle schools on top of that, and those will all be ordering as much produce as they can from our local farmers. By having people like John and Andrew bringing in this produce to us locally, we're able to achieve that, and achieve it on a large scale.
I think that's terrific.
Eventually folks will realize this is big economic impact stuff here.
Colleges, hospitals, all of these are enormous buyers. Anybody in the business of producing a food product is absolutely going to listen to their market. If the market demands change, they will produce it.
Do you like the locally grown tomatoes?
First time I bought them.
Have you? Okay, good. Well,
I get on the farmer's market and I'm low today, so.
Are you?
Yeah.
How's our price compared to the farmer's market?
Very good.
It is.
Yeah,
Good.
it
Well,
is.
we appreciate you trying them. Yeah. Well, let us know.
Appreciate you having them.
All right, well, let us know. We appreciate the business. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I sell a lot of processed foods in this store, but I also know there's a demand for good, healthy alternatives, and I think it's our responsibility as retailers, wholesalers, and manufacturers to provide those alternatives to our customers.
Good Nature Family Farms is an alliance of 150 family farms within a 200-mile radius of Kansas City. We're trying to integrate our small and mid-sized family farms into this modern food system and learning how to develop a process that makes it economically viable back to the family farm. Each farmer working independently would never be able to grow enough product to service a mainstream supermarket. What we find is very efficient and effective is everyone bringing it together. We call these produce hubs. By everyone working together and having a central location to aggregate their product, it allows us to access these markets.
We had a real challenge with our distribution model because a lot of those farmers didn't necessarily have the right equipment to get their product from the farm to our warehouse.
Maintaining the refrigeration to get it to the marketplace was one of the weak links that we had in the process.
So we stepped up and we provided some refrigeration trailers to a lot of these different farmers. We're able to help the farmer get their goods from the farm to the distribution facility, to the end consumer, which is the plate.
What Diane Cotton, Good Nature Family Farms, Small Foods, and number of others around the country that are striving to do is they're striving to make this good local food accessible to more people by moving it in to something similar to the mainstream food system.
We ought to shoot for quadrupling or quintupling this business in the next 12 months. We ought to be able to figure out how to do that.
It has potential when you're looking at using the existing systems, not having to create new systems. If there's commitment on the end user's level and there's product at the farm level, and we're able to regionally source and consolidate it and get the product through the existing channels, it does have huge potential.
Are you ready for your dinner? Enjoy. And this is dinner. This is spring mix salad today. Enjoy yourself.
Is this really a blood orange?
Yes, they are.
I haven't had one of those in a long time. Very nice.
As the local food movement grows, then you will create the confidence that, yes, we can move from this industrial food system to something that's fundamentally different.
Is there enough local product out there to really fulfill the demand for all of us? What if all the universities, all the hospitals, all the school systems started asking for small farmer food? Are there enough small farmers to go around to do it?
Not today. Not today. The answer would be no, not today. There aren't enough small farmers to adequately fulfill the pipeline.
We have a country with high obesity rates. We have people who are demanding fresh fruits and vegetables, and we have farmers eager to grow them. The problem, I think, is scaling up and having government programs support that. So why are these programs not changing?
So we can never really have a truly good policy as long as we're worrying about a commodity group influencing the policy more than our interest in food.
They have the wherewithal to encourage lawmakers to do what they're doing. We do not.
Maybe we just don't have enough of a voice within American agriculture to make that shift happen.
We think this might be the biggest kill field in Iowa. Because the state doesn't keep very good records, we're not certain. It's about 2/3 of an acre. I'd love to have 40 acres of this. Our fairly expensive farm program, where we're spending $30 billion over the course of like 2 or 3 years sometimes on corn and soybean subsidies, is costing us hundreds of billions of dollars in the health industry because we're having to treat obesity-related diseases. If we were able to shift some of that farm money towards vegetables and fruits, or to even maybe eliminate that subsidy so you had a more level playing field, so that some of the incentive was there to grow fruits and vegetables and make them more cost competitive, I think we could have a much healthier populace and spend much less of the taxpayers' money.
If we really want to make headway on the obesity epidemic, we have no choice but to take the food supply and farm policy and farmers into the equation. If we don't have farmers on board, I think it's going to be very difficult to change the food that is making our children overweight.
The system that we have now isn't working. You have to have a vision of something that's fundamentally better for the future.
How about that one there? Is that purple?
I give the green bells.
I'm going to take one purple one, and then I'm going to get one of these long sweet peppers. So as we look to the future of the food system, people like Good Natured Family Farms and like the Practical Farmers of Iowa and like the people at the farmers market, they're helping to create this new vision of a better food system for the future.